Good afternoon to all. Welcome to this 19th lecture session of the course, Computational Fluid Dynamics. In our previous lecture, we have talked about one of the higher order upwind differential scheme, which is specifically known as QUIC, Quadratic Upwind Interpolation for Convective Kinetics. Okay, and finally, we have seen that when we are using this higher order scheme QUIC, it is actually decreasing the false diffusion. It means our solution is being closely approximated to the exact solution. But one of the limitation of this higher order scheme, we have seen that it has resulted in some oscillations. Okay, so let me once again redraw the solution which I had shown you in the previous lecture. So I was plotting x along this direction and phi along this direction. Okay, and I told you that say if my exact solution is something like this. So this particular line is actually representing the exact variation of phi. So we had seen that our upwind differential scheme, say this is the solution using upwind scheme with say grid size of 50 by 50. Okay, so if instead of upwind differential scheme we are using the QUIC scheme, so that is giving the solution close to that of our the exact solution. So it means false diffusion has decreased. So this is the solution using QUIC with same number of grid points, 50 by 50. Okay. So upon using the QUIC scheme, what we have seen that accuracy of the solution has improved. It means the magnitude of false diffusion has decreased. However, if you see over here in your solution, there is some small oscillations in this zone, and over here also you are having some oscillations. Okay, so basically what happens upon using the higher order schemes, our solution accuracy is increasing, but if you consider it from stability point of view, you are finding small oscillations in your solution. Okay, so majority of the solutions this may work, but in certain cases what will be happening, you may find that if you are having some turbulent situation and you are using a QUIC scheme under the cases of turbulent flow, you may find that sometimes these oscillations may lead to negative turbulent kinetic energy and dissipation of turbulent kinetic energy. Okay, so dissipation of turbulent kinetic energy and the magnitude of turbulent kinetic energy is something which is a positive quantity as per its physical nature, but these numerical oscillations which are introduced because of the QUIC scheme sometimes may lead to their negative values. Okay, so such kind of issues in our numerical solutions will be giving us unrealistic simulation results. Okay, so this is one of the limitation, and though particularly by using the QUIC schemes, many researchers has also developed some other variants of the QUIC scheme which takes care of the stability issue and include the order of accuracy by considering deferred correction. Okay, so that deferred correction also I have introduced one of the variant for QUIC scheme, that also I explained you in the previous lecture. But in general, like if we consider any higher order scheme, that will be having the issues with, it is not only with the QUIC, but any other higher order scheme will be having the issues with oscillations into our solution. Okay, so these oscillations are actually detrimental for our numerical solution, because in some cases, as I told you, particularly considering the turbulent flow situations, we may have some unrealistic results. Okay, so that's why we have to devise some ways which will be taking care of the stability part and moreover the accuracy parts. So in order to maintain accuracy, we need higher order. At the same point of time, we don't want these unwanted oscillations. Okay, so considering this as the objective, there has been some developments by different researchers who have proposed some advanced schemes, and such schemes actually comes under the class of total variation diminishing schemes. Okay, so this led to idea towards the development of some new class of numerical schemes, which is particularly referred to as total variation diminishing. Okay, and in general, these are referred to as TVD schemes. Okay, so if we originally talk about the TVD schemes, the origin of the TVD schemes is something initially these were actually designed for transient gas dynamics problems. Okay, so whatever the problems involving compressible flow situations, transient compressible flow situations, initially TVD schemes were derived for transient gas dynamics problems, but later on, by looking into their usability, this has actually become the general tool for CFD problems. Okay, so the origin was particularly with the attempt to solve transient gas dynamics problems, but by finding their suitability for having higher order of accuracy and the stable solution, these particular schemes has been then later on became general for these became general for our general purpose CFD solvers. Okay, so what basically TVD schemes does, in case of TVD schemes, we do two things. Okay, either we introduce some artificial diffusion. Okay, we will be introducing some artificial diffusion which will be taking care of the oscillations. Okay, or we will be another thing we can do, we can provide additional weights to upstream direction. Okay, so we can provide some additional weights to upstream direction. So basically, we have seen the main cause of oscillations is nothing but scheme is not able to account for the transportive behavior of the field variable. Okay, so that's why what things can be done using the TVD schemes. We can either go for artificial diffusion term. That artificial diffusion term will try to damp the additional numerical oscillations which are coming into our solution, or we can provide some additional weight to the upstream direction, and that additional weight will also happen, will also try to account for the transportive behavior and make our solution stable. Okay, so regarding this, now let us try to first express our different schemes which we studied till date in some general formulation. Okay, so that will be actually acting as basis for driving our total variation diminishing schemes. Okay, so let me draw some grid structure over here. Say I have this as my grid point, a node point P, this as my node E, this as say some node W, and say one node behind over here WW. Similarly in this direction as E. Okay, now if I consider P as the node under consideration, this particular node P will be having two faces. If I am considering one dimensional problem, so it will be having W face, and one it will be having small e face over here. Okay, so now if I have to estimate the value of parameter phi at point E, we are having different schemes available. Okay, so let me first give you the example of upwind differencing scheme. So if you have to use upwind differencing, then how I will be writing value of phi E? It will be equal to nothing but, can you tell me?
Phi P.
Phi P. Okay, then comes the second scheme. Now let us consider linear upwind differencing scheme. Okay, so if I consider, so this is piecewise upwind differencing, the first one. Now second one, let us consider linear upwind differencing. So if I consider linear upwind differencing, what I have to do in case of linear upwind differencing, I have to write phi as nothing but equal to A plus bx. Okay, and now I have to use upwind scheme. So that's why whatever the face I have considered over here, if I'm considering say east face, so for the east face, my upwind nodes will be nothing but phi P and phi W. Okay, so considering delta x as the uniform spacing between node points, what I can do here, I can say that phi will be equal to phi p when x is equal to 0. So if I say measuring x with reference to this point, okay. So phi p will be equal to a. So and another condition. So this is my condition number 1. Another condition I can write phi w will be equal to nothing but a plus b into minus delta x. Is this point clear? So now from here I can write phi w equal to phi p minus delta x into b. So from here you can see what will be the value for b. B will be nothing but phi p minus phi w divided by delta x. Okay, so if you substitute back, you will be finding phi equal to a is nothing but phi p plus b is phi p minus phi w divided by delta x. Okay, now if you have to estimate the value at east face phi e, so this times x, what will be the value for value of x for phi e?
Delta x.
Will it be delta x or delta x by 2?
Delta x by 2.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
it will be delta x by 2. So I can estimate phi at face east, which is nothing but x equal to delta x by 2. It will be becoming phi p plus phi p minus phi w divided by delta x into delta x by 2. Okay, so by considering the linear upwind differential scheme, I will be getting phi e as nothing but equal to phi p plus 1 by 2 into phi p minus phi w. Okay, now can you tell me what about quick scheme? If same phase I have to estimate using quick, what will be the value of phi e? So after linear, it is next term for quadratic. What I can write based on quick scheme, please tell me. 1 by 8 times
3 phi p minus
3 phi p.
sorry sir
Okay,
phi e sir phi e
phi
sir, it
e.
should be phi. Yes sir.
Okay, then
Minus phi w
minus phi w
plus 6 phi p.
plus 6
Phi
phi
p.
p. Okay, so this is something which I will be getting from the quick scheme. Now you can clearly see this 6 phi p I can write. So this will be becoming 6 by 8. This I can simply write as nothing but 1 minus 2 by 8. Is this point clear? So this 6 phi p I can write as phi p minus 2 phi p by 8. So if I apply this substitution, I will be finally finding phi e equal to phi p plus 1 by 8 into 1 by 8 into 3 phi e minus phi w minus 2 phi p. Okay, so this is something which we will be getting from the quick scheme. What we will be getting from CDS scheme? So from the central difference scheme, I will be getting phi e as nothing but equal to what I will be getting from central difference. Can you tell me?
Phi e plus phi p by 2.
Phi e plus phi p divided by 2. So this I can simply write as nothing but phi p plus phi e minus phi p by 2. Can I write it like this? Is
Yes
this
sir.
correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So from all these different formulations, you can see in the first term, we are having phi e as phi p, which is piecewise upwind differentiating. Then in the linear upwind differentiating, we are finding phi e as phi p plus some quantity. Okay. And similarly, in the quick scheme also, we are finding phi p plus some quantity. Similarly, in central difference also phi p plus some quantity. Okay. So it means when we are deriving the different types of schemes, or when we are increasing the order of accuracy of the scheme, we are finding that basic formulation is the value which we are considering for upwind differencing plus we are giving some additional value. Okay, and that additional value is basically responsible for increasing the order of accuracy. Okay, but sometimes this additional value is actually causing some negative coefficients, and these negative coefficients are actually bringing the stability issues into our solution. Okay, so in general, if I have to write, I can say that phi e will be equal to nothing but phi p plus 1 by 2 some function psi times phi e minus phi p. Can I say this in general sense? So what I am doing now, I am writing some general expression which will be like taking care of the different schemes into one single expression. Okay, so that general expression I have written as phi e equal to phi p plus 1 by 2 psi. So this psi is some function I have written, and depending upon the individual schemes, actually we have to substitute this value of psi function over here. Okay, and that I have written as nothing but 1 by 2 psi into phi e minus phi p. Now can you tell me what will be the value of psi for upwind differencing scheme? So if you consider upwind differencing scheme, what will be the value of psi?
0.
Psi will be 0 for upwind differencing scheme. Okay, can you tell me the value of psi for central differencing scheme? For CDS?
1.
Yeah, for CDS the value of psi is equal to 1. Now let us consider our linear upwind differencing scheme. Okay, so for the linear upwind differencing scheme, we have got expression as phi e equal to phi p plus, what is the expression? Phi e equal to phi p plus half of
Phi e minus phi p.
phi e minus phi p. Okay, now no, this is not.
No, sorry, sir. Phi p minus phi w. I'm sorry, sir.
Phi p minus phi w. This is for CDS. Phi p minus phi w. Now, if I had to equate this particular expression to the generic equation which I have considered over here, what I can do, I can multiply with phi e minus phi p and I can divide with phi e minus phi p. Okay. So what I will be doing over here for LUD scheme, we will be writing phi p plus half of phi p minus phi w times, I will be doing over here phi e minus phi p divided by phi e minus phi p. Okay, so this will result in phi e equal to phi p plus 1 by 2 phi p minus phi w divided by phi e minus phi p times phi e minus phi p. Okay, now can you tell me what is the coefficient psi over here?
Phi p minus phi w.
So this is my coefficient, phi p minus phi w and phi e minus phi p. So over here, if you see, this phi p minus phi w is nothing but the gradient of phi in the upstream direction, and this if I divide it by delta x. Similarly, phi e minus phi p will be this also, if I divide by delta x, it will be representing the gradient of phi in the downstream direction. Okay, so over here this psi is becoming nothing but the ratio of gradient in upstream direction minus gradient in the downstream direction. So let me call this parameter phi p minus phi w by phi p minus phi e minus phi p as nothing but some parameter r. Okay, so I am calling r as nothing but phi p minus phi w divided by phi e minus phi p, and this particular r I can call as ratio of, if I divide by delta x in both numerator and denominator, then for uniformness I can call this as nothing but gradient of phi in upstream direction, and this is gradient of phi in the downstream direction. So I can simply physically relate r as nothing but ratio of gradient of phi in upstream direction to the gradient of phi in downstream direction. Okay. So that is something I can physically relate the definition of this R. So from here I can simply say, now earlier I was simply writing psi as function. So this function has now become a function of some ratio of gradients, which I can call it as R. So for linear upwind differential scheme, I can call that phi E is nothing but equal to phi P plus 1 by 2 into R phi E minus phi P. Okay. So now in general, I can call that this psi over here, which is the functional form I have considered, that is nothing but a function of R, and this psi of R is equal to R for linear upwind differential scheme. Is this point clear?
Yes, sir.
Now let us go into the quick scheme, and for quick scheme also let us try to find out the value of this coefficient. So what was the expression for quick scheme? Phi E equal to phi P plus 1 by 8 times 1 by 8 times 3 phi E minus phi W, 3 phi E minus phi W minus 2 phi P. Okay, so this is the expression. Now once again over here, what I have to do, I have to make this expression equivalent to that of our generic expression. So I will be doing some algebraic manipulations over here. So first let me write 1 by 2 over here. So if I will be writing 1 by 2, I will be getting inside 1 by 4 in the multiplication, and that will become 3 phi E minus phi W. Okay, now what I will do, I will add 1 phi P. So I will add 1 phi P and I will subtract 1 phi P over here. This is one manipulation I have done, and further I will, in order to make it equal to the generic term, I will multiply with phi E minus phi E, and I will divide with phi E minus phi P. Okay, so these two algebraic manipulations I have done over here. So if I do this, I will be finally getting phi E equal to phi P plus 1 by 2 into 1 by 4. So this will become 3 phi E, and minus 2 phi P and minus phi P will be becoming 3 times phi E minus phi P. Okay, divided by, from this denominator also I will bring phi E minus phi P inside. Okay, and here I will be getting plus phi P minus phi W divided by phi E minus phi P, and outside I will be getting phi E minus phi P. Is this point clear?
Yes, sir.
So from here I can write phi E as equal to phi P plus 1 by 2. This ratio phi E minus phi P will be cancelling. So inside I will be getting 3 by 4. Okay, plus, and this ratio phi P minus phi W into phi E minus phi P is nothing but our ratio R. If you see the definition of R, so this is nothing but R. So I can write 3 by 4 plus R by 4 over here. Okay, into phi E minus phi P. So for the quick scheme, I can say that my psi of R is nothing but equal to 3 by 4 plus R by 4. Is this point clear? So this is what we have actually got, the value of function psi R for different schemes, while we have compared it with some generic equation which involves some function psi R. Okay, so we have got the functional value for different schemes. So let me once again write these values. So this is for quick, and for we have got psi R equal to 0 for upwind differencing. Okay, we have got psi R equal to 1 for which scheme? Central difference. and we have got psi r equal to r for linear upwind differential scheme. Okay. So now from this we can obtain some diagram. That particular diagram is actually referred to as R psi diagram. So from here we can plot one diagram which is specifically called as R psi diagram. Okay. So what I will be getting over this R psi diagram, let me plot psi along coordinate and R along abscissa. So say this is my 0, this is say 1, 2, 3, 4, like this I have say number of values over here. Okay. And here also I will be having some 1, 2, 3, something like this. Now can you tell me psi r will be equal to 0 is nothing but this line over here. Okay. So it means this line corresponds to our upwind differential scheme. Okay. Then I will be having one another line psi r equal to 1. So psi r equal to 1 is this line. So this particular line is corresponding to central differential scheme. Then I have one line psi r equal to r. So psi r equal to r will pass through these points. So this will be some straight line over here, and this is nothing but our psi r equal to r, and it is applicable for which? This is applicable for linear upwind differential scheme. Okay. Then we have another equation psi r equal to 3 by 4 plus r by 4. So 3 by 4 will be 0.75. So when r is equal to 0, this line will start from 0.75 and this line will move something like this. Okay, so let me write this as expression for psi r equal to some equation 0.75 plus 0.25 into r, and this particular expression is actually applicable for our quick scheme. Okay, so what I have done, whatever the existing scheme we have discussed, these different schemes I have plotted on a diagram, generalized diagram, which is referred to as R psi diagram. And in the present form, whatever the coefficients or whatever the functions we have got for this psi r for the existing schemes, these only I have plotted over. Okay. So now this particular diagram will be actually become deriving the TVD schemes. Okay. So over here you can see this is my psi r equal to r. If I consider any other value, say psi r equal to 2r, then my line will be shifted somewhat. Line will be having slope actually 2 times that of the initial slope. Okay. So this is how like we can plot different lines on this R psi diagram, and at the moment we have plotted this R psi diagram only for our existing schemes. But this R psi diagram is actually very, very important in deriving the total variation diminishing class of schemes. So what will be its implications, how it will be desirable in deriving these TVD schemes, that we will be seeing subsequently. Okay. So now let me start the basic concept of TVD schemes. So now I will be like introducing the basic concept of TVD schemes. So basically the TVD schemes preserves one very, very basic mathematical nature of the discretization scheme, and that particular mathematical nature is actually called as monotonic consistency. Okay, so monotonic consistency is some basic mathematical nature which we will try to preserve over here. Once this monotonic consistency is actually preserved, our scheme will be actually becoming stable. Okay, so what are the two basic fundamental conditions to maintain this monotonic preservance? That let us try to see. Okay, so first condition is that there should not be generation of there should not be generation of any local extrema. This is the first condition. What this condition physically means, that I will explain. Second condition is that local minima must be non-increasing type. Sorry, must be non-decreasing type. And local maxima must be non-increasing. So can you infer something from these statements? Whatever I have written over here, can you infer some physical meaning from these? So I am saying that in order to satisfy the monotonic variation of the phi, monotonic consistency, mathematically our discretization scheme should follow the two fundamental criteria. Okay, the first fundamental criteria is we should not be having generation of any local extrema, and second condition I am saying that local minima must be non-decreasing type and local maxima must be non-increasing type of function. Okay, so let me just give you one example. Say I have some variation of phi over here, and that variation of phi is, say, something like this. So what is this over here? This is some
Local minima.
local minima. What is this over here? This is some
Maximum.
local maxima. This is some another local minima. Okay, so when my solution will be marching in the iterative manner, so in the next iteration I should get only these local minima and local maxima. Okay, I should not have generation of any additional local minima or say any additional local maxima over here. So such type of behavior is actually not acceptable. This is the meaning of the first condition. Is this point clear? Please say yes or no.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now second condition is that whatever the local minima we are having, that function should be of non-decreasing type. It means whatever the magnitude I am having over here, that magnitude should not decrease further. So if function is not of non-decreasing type, it means it will be of increasing nature. So if minima is increasing, my value of this minima will be decreasing upon further iterations. Okay. Similarly, I have written second condition that whatever the local maxima we are having, the function of that local maxima should be non-increasing. So it means this local maxima should not increase further, rather it should actually remain same or decrease. Okay, so these are the two conditions which our function should satisfy in order to have our scheme to be completely stable. Okay, so this is the basis for obtaining the TVD schemes. Okay, now I will just give you one example. Let me consider that I have some different values of phi over here for different number of nodes. Say this is my some node number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and I have different values of phi. Say this is phi 1, some another value phi 2, some another value over here phi 3, and another value phi 4, and some value over here as phi 5. Now, can you tell me what will be the total variation of phi over entire domain? So, total variation of the phi, if I am calculating magnitude wise, so total variation of phi over the entire this one domain, magnitude wise will be nothing but equal to mod of phi 2 minus phi 1. So, phi 2 minus phi 1 is referring to the variation in between node point 2 and 1 plus we will be having mod of phi 3 minus phi 2 plus mod of phi 4 minus phi 3 plus mod of phi 5 minus phi 4. So this is something which will be our total variation of phi over the entire domain if we are having different values of phi at any, say, iteration. Okay. Now the scheme will be of diminishing nature only if total variation of phi at time step or at iteration level n plus 1 is less than equal to total variation of phi at level n. Okay, so this is the fundamental basis for actually deriving the total variation diminishing schemes. Okay, so are you getting this point, what I have conveyed over here? Is this point clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so total variation of phi at time level n plus 1 should be less than equal to total variation of phi at time level n, then only our scheme will be actually total variation diminishing type. Okay, so now this particular scheme has different conditions on R-psi diagram, which actually defines specifically the domain where our schemes are actually completely stable, and the domains where we are having actually also, along with the stability, we are also having the higher order of accuracy. Okay, so what I will do in today's lecture, I will stop at this point, and in the next lecture I will try to explain the different domains on the R-psi diagram which actually makes our scheme suitable. So there also I will not go into the detailed mathematical derivations, but I will explicitly specify the conditions which actually results in some specific domain on R-psi diagram, which gives us which basically gives us the condition of stability as well as the higher order of accuracy. Okay, and after that we will specifically try to see some of the schemes which actually satisfy that condition which we will be defining over here. Okay, so that I will do in the next lecture. Now if you are having any questions, that you may discuss now. Okay, I'll stop at this point.